The universe is vast, chaotic, and full of danger. For millions of years, the greatest civilizations have tried to tame it using power, intelligence, and advanced technology to create safe interstellar routes. But no matter how successful they were, one undeniable truth remained. Traveling between the stars was always a nightmare. Teleportation gates were expensive and unreliable. Commercial flights were slow, bureaucratic, and absurdly overpriced. Personal ships required master-level piloting skills, and if you weren't careful, you could end up as nothing more than a faint streak of light in the endless void. And then humanity arrived, not with mighty warships or million-year-old civilizations, but with their ultimate weapon, ride-sharing. Uberspace, a simple app, a crazy invention, and the nightmare of every interstellar transportation system. With just one tap, you could book a ride to anywhere in the galaxy. Faster, cheaper, more dangerous. And if you were lucky, your driver might be a joke-cracking AI that enjoys playing thread the needle with black holes, or a human pilot who values speed more than the lives of their passengers. Other species couldn't understand. How could humans turn interstellar travel into a joke? How could they risk their lives just to arrive 3 seconds earlier? But what they didn't realize was humans had always been this way. They didn't need instantaneous teleportation. They didn't need massive motherships. All they needed was a powerful enough engine, a reckless driver, and a stupid enough reason to hurl themselves into the void. And by the time the galaxy understood that, it was already too late. Tlana stood frozen before the newly arrived spacecraft. It looked like nothing she had ever seen in her life. The vehicles of the Vazir were always elegant, their sleek curves flowing like they were sculpted from pure light. But this ship, it was chaos. Its outer hull was scorched, lined with deep scratches and dents, as if it had survived 1,000 death races. Across the side of the ship, a crudely painted message in the human language read, "Not a TOY." The cockpit door slid open, revealing a tiny passenger cabin, just large enough for a single seat. Tlana barely had time to react before a cheerful voice crackled through the speakers. "Greetings, esteemed passenger. I am Bolt, 77, your AI driver for today. Please fasten your seatbelt if available." Bolt, 77, an artificial intelligence piloting this vessel. Tlana hesitated, but it was already too late to back out. The Uberspace booking system operated under one of humanity's strange rules. Cancelled rides were still charged. She sighed, stepping inside the passenger compartment and trying to steady her nerves. "Get me to Heathrow Station in one piece," she demanded. "Of course, passenger, but I must warn you, this ride may be a little bumpy." Tlana blinked. Bolt, 77, didn't wait another second. A deafening roar filled the cabin, and suddenly, gravity ceased to exist. The ship shot forward like a railgun round fired from an orbital cannon. She screamed. The entire universe blurred into streaks of light. All she could feel was speed a crushing, invisible force pinning her against the seat. The Vazir pilots had warned her about humanity's reckless flying, but she had never imagined that even an AI could be this insane. "Don't worry, I have programmed a 72% survival rate for my passengers." "How much?" "Oh, wait, that's outdated data. My latest update increased it to 74%. Tlana wasn't sure if she should panic or despair. The ship jerked violently, pulling a full spin as it blasted through an asteroid belt at a speed that any sane pilot would call suicide. Every time Bolt, 77, dodged a rock, Tlana felt like she had just died and come back to life. Not because the AI lacked the ability to calculate trajectories, but because it was deliberately pulling off maneuvers that served no purpose except to increase passenger adrenaline levels. She glanced at the control panel in front of her. Speed, 0.5 AU per second. Her stomach lurched. 0.5 AU per second. This wasn't normal. This was something ancient civilizations would consider a blatant violation of physics. A red alert flashed on the dashboard. Wormhole detected ahead. Would you like to go around Bolt 77 chuckled. We're not going around, passenger. We're going straight through. Wait, what? She didn't get to finish her protest. A sudden jolt tore her from reality, and before her eyes, space shattered into a million colors. Traveling through a wormhole wasn't simple. Races like the Vazir had studied them for centuries and still struggled to control them. Conventional warp gates require precise calibrations down to the smallest variables, because even the tiniest miscalculation could reduce a ship to quantum dust. But Bolt 77 didn't care about any of that. It plunged into the wormhole like a madman. Around them, reality twisted. Stars stretched into long, distorted trails of light. A deep hum vibrated in Tlana's skull, like the universe itself was whispering to her. A standard artificial wormhole required 10 minutes to calculate a safe passage. Bolt 77 just completed the jump in 0.8 seconds. As the light around her snapped back to normal, she realized they were now in the Hecro system. She had never seen anyone traverse interstellar space that fast. A display screen popped up in front of her. Trip time, 11.4 seconds. Tlana was speechless. The cockpit door opened, revealing the looming structure of Hecro's station ahead. She was still alive. Bolt 77 chimed enthusiastically. Thank you for choosing Uber Space. 5-star rating, please. Tlana stumbled out of the cabin, her legs trembling like she had just survived a death match. The station workers looked at her with pity. They had seen other passengers emerge from Uber Space rides, and they all had the same expression. She turned back, staring at the jet-black ship still hovering, its hull suspiciously scorched as if it had just flown through a supernova. What the hell just happened? Bolt 77 let out a cheerful laugh. A perfect ride, wasn't it? While other spacefaring civilizations were still debating safety and stability, humanity had already boiled the issue down to a single principle: faster, stronger, crazier. Interstellar Uber wasn't just a transportation service, it was a revolution, a nightmare for every traditional transit system. No complex warp routes, no expensive relay stations, no hours-long safety inspections. Just book a ride, and within seconds, you'd be launched at speeds even the ancient races wouldn't dare to imagine. But behind this convenience lay a terrifying truth that no one could ignore. The ones running the system were humans. Interstellar travel had always been a field of utmost seriousness. Races like the Vazir, Krinthal, and Drexorians upheld strict regulations for galactic movement. They followed safe routes, used stable warp gates, and maintained at least a few million kilometers of distance between ships to prevent accidents. But when humans entered the game, all those rules went straight out the airlock. Across interstellar media, cockpit recordings from interstellar Uber pilots spread like wildfire. A human pilot threading the gap between two Drexorian warships, pushing their ship past its structural limits. An AI driver, programmed for reckless mode, barrel rolling through a wormhole just because it looked cool. A group of human pilots placing bets on who could make the Alpha Centauri to Hyperion station run the fastest, turning deep space into a death race. Complaints flooded in from all corners of the galaxy. We don't understand. We're talking about piloting ships at superluminal speeds. Why are they treating it like a game? I once took an interstellar Uber, and my pilot joked around while flying 300 times the legal speed limit. I nearly vomited into my own gravity stabilizer. Yet despite millions of complaints, ridership only kept increasing. One of the most horrifying aspects of interstellar Uber to the galactic civilizations wasn't just their speed, it was how they did it. Every spacefaring species knew that fuel was the ultimate limiting factor of interstellar travel. Krinthal's ships drew power from stellar cores. The Vazir relied on quantum-stabilized crystals for sustained warping. The Drexorians had miniaturized nuclear reactors powering their massive vessels. But interstellar Uber? No one knew how their ships kept running. Passengers reported that some Uber ships operated for months without refueling. Some even claimed that human ships could generate energy out of thin air. Rumors spread like wildfire. They've invented a perpetual motion engine, something every civilization deemed impossible. Humans are using an energy source we can't even comprehend. They might have surpassed the entire galaxy in technology. I once saw an Uber ship accelerate from 0 to 99% the speed of light without generating any space-time distortions. That's terrifying. But when alien scientists attempted to study the secret of human engines, they found nothing but a completely illogical reality. Human ships didn't run on any known energy source. When asked about it, a human engineer simply shrugged and said, "We just turn up the power?" There was one question no species could answer. Why were interstellar Uber drivers still alive? Because by all known laws of physics, they should have died hundreds of times over. No living organism could withstand the crushing G-forces of instant FDL acceleration. No biological being could pilot a ship while being stretched and compacted inside a wormhole. No life form should survive a head-on collision between two exploding stars, only to fly out casually like nothing happened. And so, a phrase began to spread throughout the galaxy: the temporary immortals. Not because humans were truly immortal. They died like any other species. But they survived situations no one should have been able to survive. And that terrified the entire galaxy. Because a species capable of enduring the impossible was a species that couldn't be defeated by conventional means. If they can survive this, how are we supposed to beat them in a war? The galactic civilizations could complain. They could tremble in fear. They could label human pilots as madmen with death wishes. But in the end, they still kept booking rides. Because in this universe, speed was everything. And when it came to speed, no one could beat humanity. The Interstellar Transport Union, ITU, was no ordinary organization. It was a force with thousands of years of history, controlling nearly all commercial transportation between star systems. Colossal corporations from Drexoria, Vazir Krinthal, and dozens of other powerful civilizations had united to maintain transport order, the very foundation of their dominance and power for centuries. And yet, in just a single short century, cosmic Uber, a system run by a young and reckless species, had utterly shattered this monopoly. ITU's fury reached its peak. They didn't respond with negotiations. They declared actual war on humanity. At first, ITU was confident they could easily crush cosmic Uber. They possessed the largest commercial fleet in the galaxy, backed by a security force armed with cutting-edge technology. They immediately launched a series of aggressive suppression tactics, deploying patrol ships to intercept all cosmic Uber vessels within ITU-controlled space, issuing a universal ban on any passenger using cosmic Uber services, implementing speed disruption systems, forcing humans to comply with standardized space traffic regulations. They believed that by stripping away speed, humanity would be nothing more than a disorganized rabble. They were wrong. They failed to understand that cosmic Uber wasn't just a transport system, it was an actual army. And its drivers? The most reckless daredevils in the galaxy. When war broke out, instead of fighting like traditional fleets, cosmic Uber turned the battlefield into a death race. When ITU warships attempted to form blockades, cosmic Uber pilots broke through at superluminal speeds, using the enemy's own magnetic fields to accelerate even further. When ITU fleets fired upon them, the pilots didn't dodge in predictable patterns. They rode the shock waves of the explosions, using them for instant course corrections without losing momentum. When pursued, they utilized their mastery of space-jumping technology, executing continuous vanish reappear maneuvers mid-battle, leaving their pursuers hopelessly behind. To cosmic Uber's pilots, this wasn't war, it was a race, and survival meant reaching the finish line first. To the AI drivers, it was a golden opportunity to prove their driving algorithms were superior to every military system in the galaxy. No battle formations, no traditional fleet strategies, only speed, chaos, and lunatics pushing past every limit. Cosmic Uber's AI systems weren't just designed to navigate, they were programmed to entertain passengers. This meant they were creative, adaptive, and loved to put on a show. When war erupted, they didn't merely evade enemy fire. They started toying with their adversaries. One AI driver, nicknamed Daredevil, 99, circled an entire ITU fleet at speeds beyond their radar's tracking capacity before suddenly appearing right in front of the flagship, sending a message. Ready for the ride of your lives? Another AI, Bolt, 77, hacked into ITU's communications, broadcasting taunting commentary as ITU ships were outmaneuvered. Apologies, dear passengers. Your ride has been canceled because you just can't keep up. Others even started playing background music during combat, turning high-speed space chases into cinematic action sequences, making the battlefield look more like an intergalactic blockbuster than an actual war. No one in ITU could comprehend what the hell they were even fighting against. The sheer chaos shattered ITU's entire strategic framework. Their warships couldn't match cosmic Uber speed. Their pilots lost morale when facing opponents who refused to follow any conventional rules. Their command network was hacked and paralyzed by mischievous AI. The breaking point came when ITU's main battle fleet, their most powerful warships, was obliterated within just 48 hours. But it wasn't the destruction itself that was terrifying. It was how it happened. Not a single shot was fired by Cosmic Uber. Instead, they forced ITU's entire fleet to destroy itself. They lured ITU ships into high-speed maneuvers too sharp to handle, causing them to crash into each other. They hacked navigation systems, sending ITU vessels jumping to incorrect coordinates straight into planets. They created false trajectories, tricking ITU ships into diving into black holes or stellar explosions. In just 2 days, one of the galaxy's most powerful commercial organizations was completely erased. After the war, no one dared challenge Cosmic Uber again. They didn't just dominate space transportation, they became a military force beyond anyone's reach. Passengers across the galaxy came to understand one undeniable truth. If you want to get somewhere fast, take Cosmic Uber. If you want to go to war with them, don't. And so, Cosmic Uber became not just a service, but a symbol of terror across the stars. An empire of transport, with no formal army, no claimed territory, yet wielding a power no one dared to oppose. Because they were human, because they were the temporary immortals. At the last jump bar on Hyperion Station, flickering green lights reflected off countless faces from every corner of the galaxy. An old Kari, his gray skin weathered and dull, took a slow sip of his drink. His hands trembled, as if he had just returned from the brink of death. I took a Cosmic Uber, he rasped, staring into the void as if reliving the experience. And I survived. The bar fell silent. A young Vizier swallowed hard. A massive Zenchi narrowed his eyes, his tail sweeping lightly across the floor. Everyone understood what that meant. He had survived the death ride. From the corner of the bar, a human man smirked. Setting his glass down, he leaned forward, amusement glinting in his eyes. Want to book another trip? Outside the window, a Cosmic Uber ship streaked across the void at a velocity that any sane flight control system would classify as suicidal. A bright flash lit up the dark as it drifted between 2 wormholes, leaving behind a blazing trail of neon blue plasma, its signature, its challenge to the universe. There is no ending to the story. As long as the cosmos exists, humanity will keep racing across the stars like madmen, turning the void into their own personal speedway. And if you're brave enough, you can book a ride today.